Hey guys and parents, I'm about to put the video up for our game against Sturt, but the club has actually paid for like the full analytics package now that comes with the videos, and I will try to give you guys access to this down the track, but for right now it's just something I've got access to. But I wanted to show you what these analytics look like because it's really interesting. So obviously we know we went down 7-2 against them, but when you look at the stats, we were very even on the pitch. We just don't seem to be able to get it out into attack. So let's run through these stats, and then I'll give you a few of my ideas, and maybe it's something we can discuss on Wednesday. So 46% possession to us, so they had 54, so that's pretty even. Just ignore these -17s and stuff like that, because that would be comparing against other teams, not just us. But yeah, 46, obviously that means they had 54%. That's pretty close, I reckon, not too bad. Goals scored, obviously 2, shots 2, and I think that's that part. So now we get into the full stats. This is where it's very interesting. So goals, 7-2. Shots that didn't go in, 38 as opposed to 2. Total shots on goal, 45 for them, 4 for us. Okay, so we had 46%, and they managed to, I don't even know what that percentage is, but that's a lot more than us. That's like 1,000% more. Corners, obviously, because of all their shots, they got more corners. That makes sense. We definitely won in the free kick department. They were pretty physical, so that's all right. Now, this is interesting. Passes completed. We actually completed a few more. Oh no, sorry, just a few less. 195 versus 188. So again, we're pretty even with them. Pretty even on possession. Possession minutes. 14 versus 16. Very close. Possessions won. So number of time you regain possession of the ball in open play. 181 versus 176. This game should have been so much closer and tighter than it was. And I think, like we said at the end of the game, the score didn't do you guys justice. They capitalised on their opportunities, but then looking further into the stats, we were always under pressure. So, but we were able to show with our skills that we could hold the passes, we could keep possession, we could have the same possession minutes, we could win the ball back. So yeah, we were right in there with them. Now this is this is interesting. So this is where we took our shots. So we had 2 misses and 2 scores. Okay, have a look at this. This was them. Have a look at that. If you think Jaden got a workout, you're right. So that was all their shots on goal. That's those 38 misses, 7 on target, 45 in total. So they had about a 16% conversion rate, 18% inside the box. Okay. Moving on, passing locations. Okay, so this is us. So we actually passed, 82% of our passes were inside the middle. 12% were in attack, which is actually quite surprising. 6 passes in the defensive third. So we were getting it to there. We just seem to be contained. That's where they're stopping us in the middle. We're not getting enough balls over here. But have a look at these guys. It's very similar. So they had 7 passes. So it tells me they're going very direct. They get in, they're not messing about. They get in and they take their shots. Okay, because you look at the difference, we actually had more passing inside the attacking third than they did. They had a lot less. They were all in the middle. They were building up the play. But yeah, not much difference again. So quite incredible. Possession. Okay, so possession. This is where it really shows. So the passing, it is so different to the possession. So possession. Most of our possession was in the defensive half, 71%. 21% in the middle, 7% in the attack. Obviously, that's the other way around for them. 52%, 33, 16. Okay, so their possession, they were pressing us. There's no two ways to look at it. They were putting pressure on us. They were pressing us the whole time, and we were defensive. Okay, passing strings. Now this is some good news for us here as well. So passing strings, how many times we completed a 3 passing string, so 3 players got touch. We actually managed to do that 18 times. We got 18 passing strings there. We got 2 with 4 touches. We even got 3 with 5 touches, which is very good. We had them on those small ones, so they only had 8 and 4 and 3, but they actually got 9 passes in at one stage, and then their longest passing string, according to the AI, I can't really believe that, was 18. That's pretty amazing. But you can do those longer passing strings when you've got that buffer of well, basically when you're 7-2 up, you just want to hold possession. So that kind of makes sense. Okay, heat map, super interesting here. So we'll go back to, we'll do theirs first this time. So this is their heat map. This is where most of their, if it was like an infrared body heat, this is where their body heat was. This is where most of their play was, in that area, and then out here obviously. But that's the first half. They were obviously all in our defensive line, and then the second half it obviously switched, and I think it switched even more. I think, oh, actually no, real heat map there. They kept, and that was true, they kept on winning the ball. Jaden kept kicking out there, and we'd hold it for a while, and then they'd win the ball, and they were beating us right there. So that was really interesting. I'll go back to first half. Now we look at ours. So clearly we've got a lot of heat in that defensive area. A little bit over here. But have a look at that. There was this stream. Now guess who was there in the first half? And he's usually our striker. So I think, it's obviously Talon. He's a very good player. He does create opportunities for us, but it shows how much you guys are looking for him. And it's a good thing, but it's also not a good thing, because we become predictable, don't we? If we keep just feeding it to that one player, we're obviously predictable. But looking at that, we were actually at least getting it into that attacking, that middle third with him there. So that's something us coaches will have a chat about and sort of discuss whether that's an option. Second half, it was all contained in here. And again, we were getting some possession there, and that was actually Huss. So Huss was about there. So Jaden was, I think Jaden was going out to JJ, AO, that sort of area. And then we were trying to play to Huss, and we were getting that far, but we weren't getting much further. We did a few times, but we're getting contained in there, aren't we? So we need to work on that. Oh wow, interesting. So you can sort of change the time. I didn't see that before. Okay, so they're the stats. So what does that tell us, guys? To me, it tells us that we are probably playing a bit too defensive, and I think that might be the case. I think what happens is we get pressed, our 4 defenders are back there, and then to their credit, the 4 midfielders come in and help out to contain, but then when we do win possession, we haven't got any channels to play out to, and that's a problem. So we may need to split our midfielders a bit more. Maybe we have 2, or we have 1 CDM to help and put 5 in the back, so to speak, but one is a blocker for the defenders. Or we sort of go with 2 primary defensive ones, and then our winger sort of midfield stays out wide and becomes that passing channel for us. So we may need to look at that. Where I think if we've got, say, 5 or 6 in defence, that's probably enough. We really need to, and we need to be more useful. Quite often we get caught just watching the players go past us and marking space and things like that. We need to be, it's okay to be in space, but you need to be aware of all the players that are around you and be ready to shut them down. And too often I think we just take too long to shut them down, and they either get a shot away or they get a pass off to someone else, and that's what's causing us trouble. So yeah, we seem to have we're basically getting contained in defence. We need to work on that. Formation, maybe we do need to look at changing our formation again. So the 4-4-2 has served us well when we're playing really strong teams, because it does bolster our defence. It helps us to stop the flow. But maybe when we've got these teams like Sturt, where I really do believe we had a chance, and the stats are starting to confirm that as well, they didn't have all the possession, they didn't have all the passing. So maybe with those games where we're in with a chance, maybe we need to look at going back to the 4-2-3-1 and have one striker and bolster up our attacking mids, and then have those 2 defenders as a CDM sort of role, double CDM role. But then we need to find the right players to play all those roles. Okay, and then we also need to have subs that can come in and fill those roles without causing any disruption to the formation. So that's possibly something else we need to look at. Maybe we do need to try the 4-2-3-1 against teams like, say, Sturt, Strikers, Para Hills, where we've got a better chance of actually pushing for the win and going for it. But then when we've got teams like Croydon, Beograd, West Adelaide that are really, really strong, maybe we do look at the 4-4-2 just to contain them, and maybe we can even change that to maybe a 4-1-4-1. We'll have to see. But yeah, so this is some really good insights. I hope you guys have got something from these stats. What it tells me is on the pitch, we are actually as skilled as them. We're holding our possession. We are keeping the play. The trouble is we're doing it all in the wrong spot. We're doing it all in our defensive third and not our attacking third, and that's what we need to switch up. Yeah, so be interested to have some thoughts from you guys on this one. That's what we're about. We want you guys to have some input. We want you guys to give us suggestions as well. I'm obviously going to have a big long chat to Neil now that we've got these stats. It's incredibly useful for a coach, and we'll move forward. But it was a good game, guys. This has sort of backed up how I felt, and when I said to you guys that score didn't do you justice, and it shows you guys held them in most of the key indicators, but we were just in the wrong spot. We were in our defensive third, and we need to learn how to push up and play football in the mid and attacking third. All right, cheers, guys.